about being out in weather like this. It kind of lights a fire in something in my soul. It might sound stupid, but man, when it comes down to rough weather and being out in it, like, I don't know, it just awakens something in me. Like, I love this kind of weather. Bonzo does too. I'm going to do a quick video today on tips on staying warm when it's cold out. Yeah, right now with the wind chill, I think the temperature's in the teens. So it's cold, but I'm pretty good. I'm not cold right now. Now if I stop, that might be a different story, but we'll get into it, so stay tuned. Gotta be on guard on a day like today. Have a tree snap and fall over on you when it's super windy and super cold. Hup! Me and Bonzo stop right here in the evening sometimes, and I'll toss him some food on the ground. Smart boy. That's what he's looking for, I guarantee it. See if he left a nibble or a crumb somewhere from last time. I think we're going to plop down right here on this rock. Hop, hop, hop. Right here. We're going to chill here for a minute and talk about cold weather gear. Alright, so some of my videos, it's been pretty cold looking and people comment, and there's been a few times people asked if I had any tips on staying cold. I mean, there's been a few times that people had commented wondering if I had any tips on staying warm when it's cold out. How do I deal with cold weather? And it's one thing when it's just cold, but you add some wind into the mix, and I don't mind the snow, but you add some rain into the mix and it can get hairy quick. But I guess let's get going. Alright, so let's start off by what I'm wearing here. I have on a base layer of synthetic fabrics, top and bottom, long sleeve. You can get lighter stuff, but these are a little more heavy duty, the ones I have on. Nice and thick, and these aren't tight on my body. They're a little bit loose, not baggy, but just a little bit loose. And to my understanding, now these are all my opinions in the way that I stay warm, and I'm sure there's other ways, and you just gotta go over what different people say and find your own way, you know, take a little bit from everybody. That's what I've done over my life, is just try to learn as much as I can. Even if I think I know a good little bit about something, I'll still watch even a beginner doing the same thing, because they might teach you something that you'd never thought about, looking at it at a different angle. But when it comes to cold weather, that's nothing to mess around with, and this is just how I stay warm. But I have a base layer of some thick bottoms, and my top base layer is tight on my body and it's a little thicker. Both of them are Under Armour synthetics. I wish I could have smart wool. That would be my first choice, but I just don't have the money to spend $60 or $70 on a decent pair of bottoms and a decent pair of tops at the moment. And one day I might find a good deal somewhere. It's always good to try and keep an eye out in thrift stores, especially if you live in a richer area, because there could be nothing wrong with what these rich folks are putting in to the Goodwills and thrift and secondhand stores and stuff. I found all kinds of good clothing in there. That's how I've done it my whole life, pretty much. I've never really bought anything new, but everything I have on me is basically secondhand, hand-me-down. But let's get back to the clothing. I don't want to ramble too much. I got my base layer, and then over that I have some synthetic cargo pants, and these aren't super lightweight. But basically having my base layer just a little bit loose, and then these are just a tiny bit loose, that kind of helps to have a barrier. When you're moving, you're producing energy and producing heat, and basically your heat will get trapped in between your layers. Basically it's pockets that heat can stay. If everything's tight on your body, there's nowhere for any air to be and stay warm, and it just leaves you, and the wind will cut right through you. But I like to do layers. So I have my shemagh up here on top, obviously. Let's see what I got going on. Basically, so I have my base layer here. Have a synthetic shirt that's kind of loose, just to be able to, you know, like I was saying, trap air in between. It'll stay warm. It'll keep you warmer when you're moving. I have a wool scarf right here, and to me, I was talking with a friend the other day, like, this is crucial. I'm not doing it to be styling. What I'm doing it for is to retain my heat. You can get it all bundled up, but if you have a little bit of an opening up around your neck, that's where you lose a whole lot of your body heat, and you get cold quick, wind going in and your heat going out, if that makes sense. So I like to have a scarf up underneath some stuff, and what I can do is if I get hot, I can kind of loosen it up in the back, let a little air out, or I can bundle up. I can keep it up around my neck, trap air from leaving, keep air from going in. And that is like the biggest, if I could tell you, take one thing away from this, in my opinion, a scarf or a shemagh. And I have a shemagh on too. I have a scarf in my base layers, so I tuck this scarf underneath. This is a vest. Here, I might as well just take this off. I wish I brought my tripod today, but I wasn't thinking about doing this video until I started kind of sweating, climbing up the side of that mountain there off the road with Bonzo. He's ready to go back down. So basically, this is synthetic, and this is a vest, and that's kind of like a mid-layer vest, and this can go under my jacket. And basically all I have my base layer, I have a loose t-shirt, then I have my wool scarf, trap body heat coming out of my neck, then I have on my vest, and this is very thin, but this does a great job of keeping my core body heat in. And of course, like, these are all layers. I like to layer up. I don't want to just put one huge big down puffy jacket on and have a t-shirt under it. What happens when you overheat, you can't really take that down jacket off to kind of lower your body temperature a little bit, because you don't want to sweat when you're out here at all. But so I have that, and then I have my shemagh up here just for a little more, and I can wrap this up around my head if my head gets too cold. All kinds of stuff. And then I have this outer shell of a military jacket, which is wind and waterproof. And you can get nice and bundled up in this thing. Nice and bundled up. I really like it. It has these air vents under the arms. So once you start getting a little hot, because it doesn't matter. I mean, it's 15 degrees out right now at the wind chill, maybe less. But hiking around, like climbing up that little bit of that hill there, I started to almost sweat. And you don't want to sweat when it's cold. And it's easy to kind of do that, especially if you're all bundled up in a lot of layers. The problem is, once you stop moving, you're going to be in trouble quick. It only takes a minute or two, at least with my body. I don't have a lot of meat on my bones. It only takes a minute or two to get to where you are absolutely freezing again once you stop moving when you're out there in the cold. And then you got to look out, because you don't want your clothes to be soaked with sweat. And if you do start to get sweaty, I suggest, this is what I do. I'm not saying that you should do it or not, but what I do is I stop. I'll take my jacket off, kind of try and air out. It's a good day for it. It's a little bit windy. I'm starting to get a little bit chilly right now, but I don't want to be sweating, because if you get to where all your clothes are soaked and you're not going to be able to dry them off, you get in big trouble. Like, once I have to eventually stop moving and build a shelter or something, if I'm out there in the cold, like, you get in trouble quick, and you get too cold, and then it's harder to get a fire going, harder to build a shelter, like all kinds of stuff that you got to think about. Like, I mean, it's one thing to be able to get a fire going and conserve your fat wood on a nice sunny warm day, but what happens when you are almost hypothermic, it's half raining and snowing, everything is soaked, and you're trying to get a fire going and conserve your fat wood, because you don't know when you're getting out of the woods. And you know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense to anybody. But basically, once I start to get a little overheated, I will stop and kind of air out, kind of let my arms out a little bit. Any kind of sweat I have on my body, I'll try and let the wind dry it out a little bit before I put my jacket back on. The other thing you can do, instead of getting to this point where I am, is actually, as soon as you start to feel a little hotter, you want to be barely comfortable when you're moving through the woods and it's super cold out. You don't want to overheat. But if you start to feel like you're starting to overheat or you're getting ready to sweat, slow down. You don't have to move fast. Like, take it easy. Like, when I was going up this hill here, I slowed down after I started feeling like it's real easy to work up a sweat really quick. All different body types, it doesn't matter. And it's kind of crazy because of the temperature out here, but it happens. And so 5 minutes of overexerting yourself can turn into death if you start sweating and you can't dry out and it's super cold out. Just think about it. Those are just a few tips. And then, of course, I have wool socks and some boots on. I don't like wearing shoes out. I'm always either wearing boots or moccasins or barefoot sandals, but way too cold for barefoot sandals right now. I don't know. Of course, I have a knit cap on. It'd be preferable to have that wool. I've been thinking about making my own wool one. I just haven't done it yet. I have a little bit of wool left from when I made my pullover wool, kind of anorak-ish kind of pullover thing that y'all have seen in other videos. That green one, that was from an army blanket. But there's enough material left, I could probably make myself a little wool cap or something like that. And then, of course, somewhere around here I have some wool gloves tucked in my jacket, and I also have some leather gloves that I'm wearing. So I have these leather gloves I've been wearing as I move through the woods. Now, the wool keep your hands warmer. So if my hands start getting too super cold, I would switch from these leather gloves to the wool. The reason I have a pair of both while I'm out here right now, I'm not saying you should carry 10 pairs of gloves, but if it gets to where I need to build a shelter, I would tear those wool gloves up quick. They will not last. You want to have some more heavy-duty kind of leather gloves or something when you're out working with cutting tools and trying to build shelters and things like that. The wool ones are for when I am hunkered down somewhere and I want to keep my hands warm. But wool is awesome, synthetic is awesome. Just don't wear cotton out in the rain or when it's cold. Really, you shouldn't go out at any time into the woods, even if you're planning on doing a quick day hike. You really shouldn't go out in cotton, because cotton can cause some big problems quick. Get yourself in a situation you don't want to be in. But I guess I've been rambling on for a while. Anybody has any comments or questions or anything, feel free to leave them down in the comments. I always try and answer everybody's comments if y'all haven't figured that out yet. I enjoy talking to everybody on YouTube that have started following me and coming along with this journey. I really appreciate all of you. We're getting a few a day, and before you know it, we'll be up at 1,000, and I'll be giving away something bigger than the last time. But I hope y'all stay cool today, no pun intended, and I'm going to keep on at it and get the body temperature back up a little bit. I'm starting to get a little bit nippy, but I'll catch y'all on the next one. See you.